Hello everyone, Shilpa Dori again. So today we are going to do rose painting. Like next 3 weeks of classes, we are going to cover different styles of rose um, paintings. Okay, and today we will be covering giving different depths of background on the rose and um, same with the leaves, different layered colors of leaves, and how to achieve this project. And first, we'll start with stroke study as usual, and then we will move on to complete project. So before starting this time, instead of using the existing background, leftover paints that you can see here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take some fresh paints and I will show how to get the watercolor effects. And while this is drying, the canvas is drying, we'll do the practice strokes. Okay. I am keeping this on minimized for now or reduce the size. I think minimize for now. Then we can move on to do the background first. Okay, so what we are going to do, just pick up some colors and that too very little of those. Oops, that's a lot, but we can use in the project, but we are not going to use these colors that much on the background. I'm going to pick up very little background color. Okay, some yellow, because we are trying to get watercolor effect on the background. We don't want to put a lot of paint. Okay. And this is my YouTube channel, Facebook, One Stroke and Paint Night, if you're looking for to scan some. Okay. All right. So I'm using a scruffy and I am picking up some floating medium here. Oh, that's a lot. Okay, that's fine. We need a lot. Just the floating medium to start with. I'm going to do a washout with the floating medium. Okay. Just spreading the floating medium completely. Nothing else. And you can see little shine. There's no color to it. And the canvas size that I picked today is 10 by 20. Not 10 by 20, sorry. Let me just measure this. This is okay. It is 10 by 20. I am right here. Okay. So I'm just washing off and adding, spreading some. Just nothing else. Just the floating weight. Just the floating medium, okay? So from the colors, you're starting with the lighter color and just picking up and damping into floating medium that you have. And then just adding that glow of floating medium color. You can see that it looks like watercolor effect. Okay. And I'm going to add some here, going on this side. Touch of floating medium. Very light shade of this. And little bit of purple and that too very light color. So if you can see, I can just dab into floating medium to lighten that color. that I have. And I'm not picking up more color, I'm just using this, spreading it out more. Spread out of the same color. So, and I'm moving down a little bit here. Just picking up floating medium and the purple. And now I'm going into blues and same, very light shade of blue. It's looking like a washout. That you're covering. Right, one more. Just spreading out. More purple, sorry, more blue, and then floating medium, and then floating medium, and then I'm just spreading out around. Just picking up a little bit of yellow and then covering in between areas a little bit. Covering a little bit down. I think we are all done on this side, this side. So this is a light watercolor effect background that we did, and it's more with floating medium and then little bit of colors that I chose to do on the background. Purple, yellow, and blue. That's all. And I'm keeping it aside. We'll go back to that. And with this brush. And for practice, we are going to go with some colors. And then we're going to move with the actual rose with different colors. So I'll keep the practice one also on one side, so you can see both. Alright. So if you can see the small circle of rose petals, we'll do just the practice first on the rose petals, and then we'll move on to doing the whole project. So I'm going to pick up angle brush today, 5 by 8 angle brush, this one. So if you see, the bristles have an angle to it, not like flat straight. And I'm wetting my brush, taking out excess water. And we're going to do the practice stroke with colors that we have on the palette, and then the real project, when we go on, we'll change the colors. I'm going to pick up some white. We have the blue already. So first let's start with the rose petal. Okay, I'm just picking up white on one side and the blue on the other side. Side loading on the white and more on the blue. And we are making sure the blue white is intact here. Okay. And the first stroke would be just, I'll leave this for reference as a practice. And from the first angle location, you're putting pressure and little spread out and then stand up. Again, one more. Touch of floating medium will help flow easily. I'm going to go on the same stroke. And that is a flat petal that we have with little curve to it. Touch, petal, curve to the petal. So you just touch, go little up, stand up. Okay. So if you want your petals to be little curvy, you can also try. I'm going to pick up every stroke enough paint. Okay. And you can just go wave up, little down, go little upward. In the whole step, my bristles are all completely down. Only I'm just giving little wave to it. Okay. So those are your strokes. And then for reference to help, you can just use a circle. Okay. And then using that circle, you can have your placement. This is my first petal, right? Going up and then standing up. See, every stroke, I'm going and picking up. And again, the second petal, going up, standing up. And anytime if the stroke didn't go that great, you can always go back, restroke. Again, here I'm not happy, you can always go back, restroke. And you can see that every stroke I am going and picking up my paint. One more. Oops. I want to go the whole circle like this. Just picking up paint. Keeping my hand here so I'm not. Either you can turn your brush, the cardstock sheet, or you can do the same approach going on the other side if you're comfortable doing that. Okay. And I'm having one going on this side. And if the flow is not going that great, you can always go pick up more paint and then restroke again. And now if you see, I'm losing my paint. I want to go back this time, spend some time loading my brush well before going and doing the painting, but touch of floating medium will help flow easily. Touch. Again, one more. Okay. One more. Go this side now. I did the whole circle. This is the outer layer. So inner layer, what we're going to do, we're going to pick up different. So let's say I'm going to keep it separate so you can see well. And I'm just going to do zigzag, 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 zigzag. So this is like second layer showing on the side instead of covering the flower. Okay. That goes inside. I'm just doing zigzag, covering the center like this in here. Okay. And then let's say I'll pick up some purple. I want to have some purple shade to my flower. Okay. I am adding some purple also here and there and dabbing. And this is all going in the center. I'm keeping it aside so you can see that. And with the same purple and blue, I am going with the second layer here. You can see I will cover that same. And then I'm doing stroke by stroke. Stroke by stroke. Same strokes, but little smaller. Same strokes, but little smaller in size. And this is all going in the center. I'm just keeping it on the side so you can see the strokes better on what we are doing here. And when we are doing the final project, we are not going to do separately. We're just putting this piece that we are doing inside, right? So now if you can see, I'm just picking up purple and white, okay? And, and the next layer is going to be little smaller that goes inside and in between also, like that's one. And if you can see, it's in between the other two strokes. And you can see I'm covering most of the previous flower. It's not like I'm making sure the whole painting that I did on the background is showing. I'm just making sure I am layering enough on the paint I'm doing here. And I'm mixing purple and blue on one side and just the, and if you're not happy with any stroke, you can always go back, restroke. I want a nice white layer showing up. And the second layer did not come that great. I can always go back. Penny stroke, then you just pay attention one more time and make sure you're happy with the circle that you did. If not, you can make some adjustments, correction. And I'm going to do one more layer, and this will be in between again. And this time I'm not giving enough pressure. Like if you put a lot of pressure, you're spreading out the bristles, which will create a big stroke. So here we have to reduce the pressure so we get a smaller stroke that we are looking for. So light pressure is what I'm giving here. One more last petal. One more last petal. So we did all 3 circles, and in the center, we will go into the details of the center. If you can see, the center is all with the depth of one color. So for the other project, actual project, we're going to go with burn what darker shade of berry wine or something in the center, make it really dark. Here I'm going with purple, just dotting on the purple. And then later, what we're going to do is just add little yellow onto that, and then just adding little yellow to the center. And then touch of white. Using the same brush, I'm doing with the tip of my brush, okay? Nothing special, just tip of my brush. Not this tip, but the actual strokes where I did. I'm using the same brush, picking up little bit of white, and then just adding the colors that we've picked. One more time, I'm going to go with white. Nice enough white, and then I'm just dabbing my white. So our center is done. Now with the same brush, I'm not washing my brush, I'm going to add Sap Green to the palette. And we're going to do the different leaf studies that we see in the project. So we are going to have sap green on one side and white still on the other side. I'm not going to clean my brush. I'm going to use the same colors that I used in the project, and just loading with that. Touch of yellow on one side, touch of floating medium to flow easily, touch of white to lighten on the yellow side. And I'm using the same brush, if you can see. And I'm using this as a reference. So let's say this is your leaf, and this is the direction of your leaf that you're going with. And every stroke you're just touching, standing up, touching, standing up, touching, standing up, touching, standing up. Same way, the other side, you're touching. You can do the other side also. This is one way. If the flat stroke that I'm going to show is harder, you can do this approach also, and then later we can add, finer details. Or the same stroke can be little more, go upward, spread out, pull in, upward, pull in, upward, pull in, upward, pull in, stand up. Okay, same way the other side, upward, pull in, upward, upward, pull in, upward, stand up. So you're keeping flat and getting this. That's one way of doing it. I think the second approach would be better if you can, but if not, you can also do this way. Touch, stand up, touch, stand up, touch, stand up, touch, stand up. Okay, touch, little pressure, and then stand up. And you can do the other side. Close, close, close. As you go inward, you're just getting closer and then standing up. So that's one way of doing it. All right, and then I'm just picking up paint, doing some floating medium again, and now I'm picking up some blue to my green side and some purple towards my green side, and then some white on the light yellow side to lighten it more on the other side. Okay, and we are trying to do different types of leaf colors, right? And if you can see, there are more red shades on the leaves, so that also we can achieve. Let it dry and then we'll come back to those and add those details. But for now, we're going to add one complete stem with 3 leaves. This is, let's say, our stem going here, and one leaf going to be there. See, as you go up, you'll end up having smaller leaves. So I'm adding more. Okay, and then touch, pressure, touch, pressure, touch, pressure. Go upward, pull in, upward, pull in, and also you can do other side, just curve in and then stand up as if it's a bent flower, like a folded leaf. So to get the folded leaf, just to show you, here on the side, you're spreading out, pressure, 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 and halfway through you're curving inward. So that gives the look of folded leaf, okay? So I'm just going to cover that. Touch. Let me pick up enough paint. Touch, pressure. You're going upward, upward, and you need enough brown. It became so light on the other side, so we want the darker shade nicely loaded. And then now we go back and then curve inward. I'm not happy. If you're not happy with it, you can always restroke. I'm going back, picking up my paint. You can see I'm just going in here, picking up my blue again, making sure my brush is nice and flat, and then going back here. Yeah, as you can see, you can always do multiple times until you're satisfied with your stroke. Okay, and here I'm just going to add one little one that is still opening up. And whenever you're trying to pull in extra stems or from the existing ones, always go inward, starting from the stem and then go outward from there. Okay, so those are some stems that we created and some stroke study leaves. And the way we did our leaf is, I'm just going to do one stroke here to show one pressure up, curve little down. Okay, pressure up, curve. So that's all we did to get this, but we repeated the same stroke again and again. That's all. Okay, so we'll let it dry to add the depth of other colors, but so that's all with the different stroke study. And in the center, just to show one more time and show it separately, center of the flower, what we did is using the same, you can just pick up, I picked purples, blues, but you can also do just like the sap green in the center. This is the center of the flower I'm showing. Sap green in the center, and the colors that you picked was blue. I'll just do a little bit of blue there. And then I had this purple in the sunflower. So I'll just add a touch of purples here and there. And finally, we'll end with white. Okay, so all I'm doing is, so same brush, I'm picking up. So that's the center. So just to show you the overall, so we did the outer layer, the inner layers that go inside, and the center separately with different types of colors, and individual stroke study of what we are going to do, and then some leaf stroke study. All right, hope you enjoyed this, and then we'll move on to the action project now. Okay, so now if you go back and see the actual project, we have three rose flowers, one on the right, little down, on the left, little, like kind of little triangular shape, but two on the sides are going on like a little sideways, right? So I'm just going to give some placement of the flowers on the canvas. So the one big one that will go somewhere here. Okay, so this is one, and the second one is going to be somewhere here. Okay, this is the first one, and then the third one is going to be on top in between. Okay, I'm just going to give little reference lines for you, and then we'll move on to the project. So I have dioxane purple, I changed colors a little bit, and berry vine, and I'm just picking both dioxane and berry vine on one side and orange on the other side. So I want to have a depth of two colors, darker shades on one side, lighter on the other side. So the same rose strokes we're going to go start with the side ones first, and let me close this so you can see better. So the side ones first. So we'll just start with going out here like we learned. Okay, and every stroke I'm going back, picking up my colors, stroking away. I like the depth of two colors, berry vine and dioxane purple, and lighter shade on the other side. And I'm continuing again. Every stroke I'm going back, and then picking up again. You can see whenever I am losing my colors, I'm just going and picking up both the colors and then going back, picking up, making sure my orange is not mixed up a lot, continuing to have my orange tone. And if you're not happy, you can always go back, restroke again. Okay, my first layer is done. And I'm going to go, as we talked, we are just doing the center like this first. Filling up. Filling up on the center before we move on and do more of our continued project here. This helps us with the depth already. Okay. So we covered that, and now I'm going back with my colors again. And now in between those two, in between those previous stroke, I have this center one. Every stroke I'm going back, picking up berry vine because it's more dominating with purple. And if you overdid on your loading, you can always go back, spread out a little bit and come back. Or you can rub it off if you're not comfortable to do that approach. Okay. And third layer I'm going and go as we talked, just go over the circle, making sure you're happy with your strokes. And then you can always come back. Fix your strokes if you're not happy. See, I picked a lot of orange, so what I can do, one approach, take out excess, come back, restroke again. That's one easy way. And making sure your colors are intact again. Touch of floating medium if your flow is not going well. As we talked, I'm just going to add the fourth layer halfway on the other side, but not completely on this side. We're going to okay. So we went more beyond this side of the canvas and leaning towards this side. We should have done the other side, but that's okay. And it's like going towards an inward kind of. That's okay. So your direction is more inward flower. Okay. And one more flower I'm going to give here, like we did before. Just doing the same circle like we practiced. spread out, circle. Then you're not happy with anything. And you don't have to center, but if you do, that will make it easy for you. I'm just filling in. And don't keep any pile of paint, just spread out evenly. So when you're doing the next layer, it will be easier for you. Okay. So now I'm just picking up touch of floating medium. Then I'm going with the second layer. Circle, circle. So we did the whole circle and then we're going with the third one. Circle. Because the other flower has 4 layers, we are going, and we went inward direction, we're going to do the same this side. And the 4th layer, I'm just going to add little small. Okay. And now we are going with the center one. Picking up both colors of my choice. And orange on the other side. And some of the flower is going to be overlapping on the center. Center one will be overlapping and covering some of these. Okay, so we're just going to start from here. Anywhere is fine, but I'm just starting here. This one is overlapping the other flower. I'm not making sure I'm not losing my paint. Going back, reloading. One more time. I want to keep my dark shade intact. And I'm going to pick up some berry wine because it's going too dark. And I want to reduce some darkness. Because I am imagining the light is falling from that side. And the flower on this side will be little lighter than the bottom ones that I have really dark. So instead of more on the dioxin purple side, I'm picking berry wine, even if that is darker shade, lighter than the dioxin purple. All right, and now I'm going to go with the second layer, touch, load, floating medium, and then in center between two. like always. Between the other two. Between the other two. Then keeping on going with the third layer. I forgot to do the center part, this one. And this is another approach. You don't have to do center, but it takes the, you have to do multiple layers sometimes if you are not able to achieve in one stroke. But if you are already done with the center, with adding the depth, it will be easier for you to get the stroke quickly. That's the only reason I wanted you to do the center first. But it's good that we did this way also. So you can do this approach as well. So in the center again, we'll have this darker shade, covered, and then we'll do more details on the center. I want to add more berry vine on the center. Using the same brush, I'm just filling in with some berry vine here. Okay. And then we are picking up some yellow on the other palette that I'm done actually. So let me pick up some yellow from there. And then some sap green. Okay. So what I'm doing in the center, all I'm doing is picking up little bit of yellow. Yellow. We are adding all this center details. Center details with yellow, and then we're going to add a little bit of white. So we're not showing the details here, just like roughly zigzag like that tip of the brush. That's all we are doing. And then some white. Again, just a little bit of white. Just a little bit of white. Just touching. Just touching with the tip of the brush. Okay. So we did the centers of our flower, and then we did the roses. And now we are going to go with green. I'm now washing my brush. If you can see, with the same berry vine, I'm picking green on one side, picking yellow on the other side. and lightening, and then pick up white to lighten more on the yellow side. Touch of floating medium. And we are going to add a little bit of orange later, but to start with, these are the two colors we are starting with, okay? And now, placement wise, what we can do, we have some leaves going on the bottom. So we'll have one, let's say, just we'll start with the big leaf stem going from here, okay? And one, and here we're going to do the one big leaf that we practiced before. Touch, pressure, pull in, pressure, pull in, touch, pressure, pull in. I need more darker brown, I'm sorry, darker green. And maybe on the darker green side, I'm picking up some dioxide purple because I want to make sure that's really dark in color. Touch of dioxide purple. And then white, berry wine, and berry wine and yellow on the other side. So you can see little depth of red shade to your stroke now. Touch of floating medium, touch of red. So it's a combination of colors that I'm picking up to get the next one. So I'm just touching. Again, the other side, touching. I'm going to turn it so you can see better. Upside down and easy to see. I'm going to do one, touch, touch, pressure. Whenever I'm losing my paint, I'm going back. Again, one more time. And then here, we want to go one more time. Just spread out, spread out, spread out, spread out, spread out, spread out. And then a straight line. Okay, that's our first leaf. And in connection to that, I'll add one more going this side this time, and some orange shade to my leaf. I'm going to add more white actually to my green, making sure my brush is loaded well, and then pressure, pressure. Again, whenever you think, okay, I'm not happy, you can always come back, come back. And here we are going to go this folded leaf that we did in the past as part of our practice. Okay, and we have two leaves and we are going to have some filler strokes, so don't worry about empty spaces that you're seeing. Okay, now I'm just turning back and then adding more details to our leaves. Okay, and one going from this side. These are some stems, and then one leaf going here, one leaf going here, and one leaf going here, one going there. And we are going to add like combination of colors here. I added touch of purple leftover paints from my palette. to my green, floating medium, white, and I'm just going to go one more time. Again, I'm going to go other side. And then this is going to be a folded leaf again. I'm just folding it, that's it. And again, touch it. Again, one more. I'm picking up paint every time. Colors of my choice. Little shift on colors. And shift on colors. And as I go up, I'm reducing my size of my leaf also, because the new ones that are still opening up will be lighter, smaller. Okay. Going here. Okay. So we added few going in that direction. And we're going to add a few more going in the other direction. Little bit here. Big leaf again here. One going in this direction. Okay. And touch of orange. Yellow. Touch of floating medium. And picking up berry vine. And touch of white. I'm just lightening on one side, making it darker on the other side. Okay, and now I'm just, if you're not happy, you can always change little bit of colors. I'm picking more white. Touch, 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 pressure, pressure, pressure. You can spread out multiple times before you even stroke. So 1, 2, 3. So the paint is spread out nice and fine. And if it doesn't happen, you can do one more time. And then I'm going to go back, pick up the berry vine and sap green on one side. And going back to the colors. And I have some white on one side, sap green on one side. And the blue, leftover blue that I have, I'm just picking up on this side. Touch, pressure, see all my bristles are spread out, then going standing up. Okay, and one more. Okay, and now I'm going to add one more going on this side. smaller one. And some filler strokes here. Okay. Going back, reloading. Just watch your painting and see where else you can add more details. And you can see some, and one can go here. Pressure, pressure, pressure. And other side also. Going back. Whenever I'm losing my paint, I'm just going back, getting the colors that I picked before. And then dioxin purple, darkening on one side, yellow, and white on the other side. And then I'm just going in, going closer so you can see better. 1, 2, 3. And on the other side, I'm just spreading 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. So if you see edges, if it is not flowing well, that's when you know that there's some floating medium is needed. So you can see. So now I loaded well again. And now when you spread out, you can see that, see on the edges, it's a lot better now. Again on the other side, same way, touch, pressure. Yeah. Going back. And sometimes I'm picking berry wine on the darker side. It's just a combination of different leaf shades that we are trying to get here. Okay. And we'll add few more going on this side of the flower. So one stem going this side and one leaf going on this side. And I'm going to add a little bit of berry wine to my leaf this time on the dark green side. Okay. So here I'm just going 1. Again, one more time. Green, I'm picking up green. Touch of floating medium. And turn the other side so you can see this better. And I can stroke better as well. So wherever some people have the comfort on the right hand side, some have left hand side. But in general, we suggest to practice in all directions. So in case you're doing a really big canvas, it's hard to turn it around. So practicing in all directions will help for that kind of situation. Okay. And then I'll add one more going on this side. One more. Same way. One more. See, again, I'm not spreading out well. So that's when you know, okay, it's time to pick up some paint again and some touch of floating medium again. One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, done. And one more time, I'm just spreading. Okay, going back with my domination of little yellow here, and I'm adding this yellow smaller leaves there. Oops. Turning around and looking at my painting one more time and see where else I can add more details. Okay, so I had some going on that side. So now what we're going to do, we're going to use the same, and then we're going to go with the smaller size of leaves with, let's say, 10 flat. Wash your brush, take out excess water, load your brush completely with green and then yellow, maybe some berry vine, yellow. I just loaded well, touch of floating medium so it does flow easily for you. Just loading my brush first. Okay, I'm going to pick up the darker shades that we have in here, that we created as part of the rose, and touch of floating medium so it does flow easily. And now what we're going to do is just add one stroke leaves that we already know in some of our past classes. So I'll just add that, and then each one will be just one stroke leaf. Catch, pull, and I'm just pulling some one stroke leaves. You can add touch of yellow if you want, but can be just these deep colors. Okay, again same way we're going to add some more on this side as well. One stroke leaf going on. Try to make it small if you can. I went a little bigger on size. All right. We added few here, few going that side, few going the other side, and now we are going to pick up just the going back to this brush again, taking out excess. Okay, and going back to our original colors for the flowers that we used, and just do some loading. Touch of floating medium. And I'm just going to add one small bud here. Just circle here. Circle here. Little buds that we are adding. Same one stroke leaf, but one going upward, one going, like bud strokes only. One going upward, one going downward. One going up. I'm picking all the dark shades. Touch of floating medium. Almost ending. Just picking up. And adding little bit of white at this point for the lighter side will look much prettier. We're not trying to make it perfect. We just want to add the detail work. Here, and some white. Okay, so we have all the leaves in place. Now, like all the buds in place. Now we're going to just do some stems that go around those leaves. Okay, so I'm just picking up white on one side, green on one side, and now I'm going to cover these. With some stems and some more leaves that go around. Same way this side. All right. So we are all I want to cover this one more gracefully here. So I'm just going to add. I'm not happy, you can always go back. So I want to have a leaf covering the back of those. Okay. And finally, what we're going to do, as always, we'll do some filler strokes. And I know by now you are all comfortable with filler strokes, so we're just going with picking up some white. I don't have space on the palette, but I think that's enough space for us. And then pen flat brush, picking up yellow. Actually, I'll go with the green and white. I can make it more dioxin purple and white as well. But white color, you don't want to lose that white. On the other side, you're fine. Whatever color you're picking, either green or purples, it's fine. But make sure your white is intact. Okay. So here now I'm just going to add. You can see, pull, 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 pull. And every time go back, reload, and then come back. Same way, I am going back, picking up. Making sure my white is intact. All right. And we don't want to lose our white, as I said. I'm picking up white. And I'm going around and seeing areas that are looking more empty and filling in wherever you think, okay, that's a good place to have some fillers. Okay. And I'm filling up. So if you accidentally pick wrong colors, you can rub it off to napkin and then come back, reload. Okay. I'm just going again. I'm going back every time and then coming back, refilling. I want to keep this painting more simple, not overdo the painting. So I'm choosing to add only small filler strokes here and there, and I'm picking up areas around the painting and then doing some filler strokes. So near the buds, I'm doing some filler strokes. Almost there. So I'm just looking around and seeing, okay, this is a good place to have some filler strokes, placement wise, and then it is going behind there, right? And some filler strokes can go here. And some can go covering this area here. Picking up darker shade on one side, white, pure white on the other side, and covering up. Whenever I'm losing my paint, I'm just going in, picking. Oops, I picked too much of white here. So taking out excess so that my brush is clean again. And then going back, picking up darker on one side, white on side of it. So I can most of it we covered. Touch, pleasure, touch, pleasure. That's already. Touch, pleasure, touch, pleasure. And it became too light, so let me just darken a little bit and then make sure my white is intact. I think our filler strokes are taking longer than actual flowers. Almost done. I'm spreading out first and then I'm going into white. This is one easy approach that you can try again. And making sure I have clean white. And the second time when I'm going in, I'm making sure only white is touched this time. Okay. So I think we covered everything, all the stroke study that we did for the rose. Initially, when I thought it looks great with this depth of color, but I think it went too dark, but that's okay. Each one is different. And now what we can do, go to the fresh colors that you have. I don't have any fresh colors here. Let me pick up some actually wet. With some floating medium, I'm picking up magenta. That's it. And that's some magenta, actually berry wine, lightening the color. Okay. And to your leaves, we can also add, now that it is dried, you can just add little bit of lighter shade. Later, after it is dried. So that is one way of expanding your painting with multiple colors. But what we did, we blended it right away with some multicolored approach starting itself. So we don't have to go through doing this. Doing this approach later, right? But that's an option that we have, that you can add depth like this later also. So you can see I added this one leaf with more depth. And then always with some floating medium will help flow easily. That is one way of doing. But I like the approach of doing all at once. So it's up to you how you want to achieve this depth. And just touch of floating medium will not add this level of detail actually. Let me go back to the original brush that I used. Take out excess, pick up the colors. In case you didn't like it, you can always, I didn't like that combination. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick up my colors again. Just load. The colors are starting to dry as well. Load. And I can always go back. Load. And I don't want to make it look different, so I'm going to cover my leaf completely with the colors we picked. And also you can also add, if you want, this little detailed stems also can go later, like example, right after you do that. That's another way of adding details. Okay. So one final step, we'll use the script liner. Quickly take out a script liner. I'm going to wet it in water. With the remaining paint in your palette, I'm going to pick up blue that I have, lighter green, mix of all the remaining colors, making it into inky consistency. Inky. More water. We want like inky. One more turn of water. One more. All right. So now what I'm going to do, the final details. Curly cues is what we are going to add. So how to get the curly cues, I didn't show. Just go in a circular motion and tip of your brush you're using. Okay. Only the tip of the brush. When you're circling and you're making inky consistency, taking out excess. Same way, I'm going to go here, start here. Okay, and one more. See, if you put too much of thickness flat down, it will become really thick. You don't want that to happen. So I want more inky. So what will you do with this? So what I can do quickly, I can fix that by adding few leaves going in there. There's always ways to fix. If you're not happy with anything, there are ways to fix that. Right. And you'll add same filler on the other side as well. And one more going on I added few going on that side, few going on this side. That covered the stroke that I'm not happy with. And then to just keep it a triangle approach, 1, 2, and I'm going to add one more going on this side. Okay. All right. Now going back again. This time I'll not try my best to make it inky before I jump into do. And test your stroke here. Then go back, and here I'm going to add touch. Okay. And one more going from here. Before that, I'm going to pick up again, take out excess, and going from here. And one final. Okay, and I'm going to use the same brush to do my signature here. All right, we are done. Hope you enjoyed the class. And once it is dried, you can add more depth if you want. But for me, I'm happy with the painting, so I'll just leave it to this. All right, thank you. See you next week. Bye now.